Welcome back to a brand new edition of Views from the Booth. I'm your host, Reed Becker, and joining me today we have Gabriel Flaksman and Nick Aurigemma. First, thanks for joining me today, guys.
How's it going, Reed?
It's all good, all good. But today, with the NBA playoffs have already gotten off and started, we're already into the second round already. We'll get into the matchups as they're getting ready to start, if they've already started from what we've seen so far. So let's get right into it. Starting off in Brooklyn, Milwaukee and the Nets. Brooklyn taking game one on Saturday, despite the fact James Harden leaves with a hamstring injury, and that's going to keep him out again tonight in game two.
Yep.
But for me, I'll just start right here. First of all, I'm assuming if James Harden comes back, which if you're in the playoffs, there really shouldn't be any excuse to not come back. But assuming they're all back together, I don't see any team right off the bat right now that's going to be able to beat those three guys. It's basically the way they built it, like the Warriors, three megastars on one team. I don't see any way that anyone's going to be able to beat them, especially with the amount of depth that they've been able to add throughout this season.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. We're not really sure if Harden's gonna come back because I think he re-injured his right hamstring and
Tight hamstring, yeah. Yeah, it's the same one. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think he missed like two games and when he injured it in the first place.
He was out a while during the season, yeah.
Like a month and
Okay.
a half.
All right. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. So I don't know. I was watching the game and I saw him grab his right hamstring after like right before he walked off. So I'm not sure if he has a timetable to return. But yeah, I agree with you. I don't think anyone's gonna beat those three guys.
Yeah. Right now they're just giving game by game. But
Yeah. So basically, like with Harden healthy, I had Nets in 5. I felt pretty good. I mean, the Bucks improved with Drew Holiday. I mean, he's a good defender, and I just think I agree. Like no one could beat those three guys, but like even Katie and Kyrie, like I still think it's gonna be Nets in 5 or 6 because the Nets just have so much star power, and they're Bruce Brown, their depth is so good. Joe Harris.
The only thing is they're gonna need Jeff Green back.
Yeah, Jeff, good defender.
I mean, being at Game 5 against Boston, they made Tristan Thompson look like he was like a Hall of Famer. So yeah, his basic rec basketball skills of rebounding was nowhere to be found. But
yeah, no. I mean, like DeAndre Jordan, in my opinion, I don't think he's good enough for the job. I think Blake Griffin's a solid defender. He's pretty big. Like he can rebound it decent. But
Paxton
against like big guys, against Giannis and Embiid, I obviously think like they're gonna get their points. They're gonna get their rebounds. Like they'll probably have like 30, 40. But like we just gotta no one can outscore us in my opinion. Like
I agree with that. I don't think it's gonna be 5 games. I think you're looking at 6 or 7. I think Milwaukee's a completely different team this year, and I mean, yes, if you can just limit Giannis to going to the basket, then he's kind of nobody from distance. But I think that I mean, you'll have guys like Forbes, and they brought in Drew Holiday. So I mean, I think it's going to be a little more challenging than that. But I agree.
No, yeah, I think if the Nets had Harden the entire season, I think it'd be 5, like for sure, no less, no more than that. But like without Harden, obviously, I think it's evenly matched without Harden. But so I think it could be 6, maybe 7.
Well, yeah, I mean, we look at it during the season. They only played without Harden the entire time they played each other, and Milwaukee won that season series. Granted, the playoffs are a different animal, but you're going to need him back.
Without Harden, like the team was just like average this season without Harden. So it's gonna be interesting to see if they can get a few more games off. They need to win 3 more off Milwaukee, so hopefully they can.
Yeah, and also game 1, I think Middleton went like over 6 or over 5 from the 3-point arc, and they also missed like 25 3-pointers. So I think game 3 should be much closer, even though the Nets only won by like 8 points. So
right. Well, here's the deal. So they have game 2 tonight. If you're Brooklyn, you gotta win this one, take care of being at home, and then that puts pressure on Milwaukee and see if they can defend their court at home.
I mean, the Bucks aren't going to shoot that badly every night. I mean, I hope they do, but I just don't see they were just such a good shooting team in the regular season. regular season, and they were coached so well. Like I think they're gonna shoot a lot better tonight.
Yeah, they're just gonna have to work on the rebounding for Brooklyn because
Yeah.
otherwise it'll be a long night.
Oh yeah, even Lopez was getting his rebounds too. So we gotta box out a little bit better. But we know our flaws.
Middleton had 13 rebounds also.
Yeah, Middleton. Yeah, exactly. You
He did
can't.
not got me 13 boards.
Right. But yeah, so that's that series. Let's move on down just a little south of New Jersey, where the Knicks were even actually originally from, but Philadelphia 76ers against Atlanta Hawks. So this was interesting. So game one, Sunday, Philly was down 20 at the half and even still made it a game at the end and still wound up losing. But I was not expecting that to happen at all, honestly. Philly being the 1 seed, the biggest question for me for the Sixers right now is Joel Embiid 100% healthy? Right now he has a small meniscus tear. I mean, the numbers in game one would show otherwise, that he's not healthy, dropping 39 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 blocks. But that's going to be there's two things that could hold them back, really. Embiid's health, obviously, but then Ben Simmons is going to, if he can't shoot, which he hasn't been able to his whole career.
Right.
If they're just going to, basically all the teams have to do is just force him to shoot from outside, and he's going to be nothing, and then it's going to become hack a Simmons game situations. So that's really for me, those are the two things that are going to hold them back from going to the finals.
Yeah, no, I personally think I personally love Philly going into the playoffs. Like they're a really good defensive team, but like I think Embiid with that meniscus tear, I think like it could really like be a problem. Like it's obviously not good playing with it, and like it's not gonna. I don't know how it's gonna get better within the next like week of the series. And like the Hawks, like as they've been like 25-11, the best record one of the best records in the league since Nate McMillan took over. So like I mean, the Hawks have been a really hot team. I think they're very overlooked and underrated. Like I think the Hawks can honestly win the series if Embiid. Embiid like looked healthy yesterday, but you don't know like the status of Embiid. So I think the Hawks could win in 7. Like it's not going to be an easy series for Philly, especially if Embiid is like not himself.
Yeah, the Hawks are a young team. They can rebound, they can shoot. So if Embiid isn't 100%, I think it's going to be a closer series than people expected it to be, especially with the Hawks winning game one.
I mean, they basically already did what they did at the Garden against the Knicks. They stole a home court game, and then they're just going to have it tied back to the ATL. But
I mean, the Hawks are the 5 seed. They beat a 4 seed in 5 games. So I really don't think Trae Young's been playing out of his mind. Like it's good to have Trae Young on your team right now. He's playing with the chip on his shoulder.
they beat a 4 seed, but let's just be fair. The Knicks team was basically just an AAU team, basically, that was running out there.
Oh yeah, but they played hard and they were a defensive minded team every night. So like it wasn't easy to beat them. Like
well, when you have your best player, Julius Randle, that doesn't show up consistently.
Oh yeah, you're right. I mean, Randle didn't show up in the playoffs. Like he was good all season. Like I don't know how he could be in the MVP conversation if he didn't show up like in the playoffs at all.
Well, because they don't go off the playoffs numbers.
I know, but like that he shouldn't be like in the MVP in my opinion. But
so I'll just say, going back to the Sixers series, though, I do agree. Afterwards, I mean, if they're able to steal a game at home court, I think it's going to be a closer series than what we expected. But I'm gonna ride with the Philly still, though, because as of right now, unless we find out later on that Embiid and Simmons, or if Embiid specifically, is going to have to sit out because if his injury as it goes on, then obviously that's going to change the whole story. But as long as Embiid's still in there, I'm going to have to stay with Philly.
Yeah. I mean, realistically, I think it's going to be 76ers in 6 or 7. But if the Hawks can have the series tied at 2-2, then they have a realistic chance of winning the series. So all they need to do is win one of the next.
Well, they already have a realistic chance because they already have a guaranteed split.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So there'll be at least tied 1-1 going home. So that's good. Hawks are so confident right now, so I really think they can take a couple more games if not win the series.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, Trae Young doesn't care about the spotlight after what he did in New York. He doesn't. That doesn't
Yeah,
bother him at all.
yeah,
Um, so now that covers the Eastern Conference. Let's
yep.
head out west. Denver and Phoenix. Game one happening tonight uh, in Arizona. But for me on this series, I'm gonna have to go with flat out just Phoenix here. I think, in my opinion, honestly, Phoenix is the best team that's in the Western Conference right now after knocking out the defending champions. And I understand that the Lakers were hurt and all, but you have Devin Booker, who started to show signs in the bubble last year in Orlando, who's now a full bloom star on the spotlight, and DeAndre Ayton, who really was drafted number one a couple of years back and had questions marks around him, but now he's starting to show himself and pretty much, honestly, outplayed Anthony Davis in the first round. So to me, I don't see a team in the West that's going to be able to beat them and send them home.
Yeah, I mean, I personally going into the playoffs, like I was that high in the Suns. Like I thought, I mean, obviously the popular pick was Lakers. Lakers are winning the series. Like obviously, like there's no chance the Suns have no chance. But I thought like the Suns like could battle them. Like they're a 2 seed for a reason. But I did not think they were gonna beat the Lakers in 6. Like I mean, Anthony Davis has just been injury plagued all season. Like the Lakers, LeBron has been not himself all season. But yeah, I just think the Suns are gonna beat the Nuggets in 5 or 6. I mean, I personally thought the Trailblazers were gonna beat the Nuggets in like 6 or 7, but Jokic is just Jokic right now. He's gonna be the MVP most likely. So I mean, Jokic, maybe the Nuggets can get a game or maybe 2 off them.
Right. Well, the other thing is that's against Denver is they're still without Jamal Murray.
Exactly. Yeah. That if they had Jamal Murray, if they had Jamal Murray, I think this would be a really good series.
Yeah, I mean Booker averaged like he averaged 30 points against the Lakers in that series, and Lakers are the best defensive team in the NBA. They didn't show it in the playoffs, but yeah, I mean, I have the Suns, no question. Devin Booker is locked in, coming off, beating the defensive champs in 6-game series. I mean, Jokic is in the MVP conversation, obviously, but I mean, Jay Crowder stepped up. He was knocking down shots. They just have so many weapons.
Cameron Payne.
Ayton. So I just think the Suns are going to win in 5 or 6, like Nick said.
And don't forget Chris Paul.
Chris Paul too, yeah.
But yeah, so we're all good with that one. Then lastly, here out in the Western Conference, Clippers and Jazz. Game one is going to be tomorrow out in Salt Lake City. This is a tough one. So I'm going to pick Utah, but I just, especially now that LeBron's not in the playoffs and
the West is wide open.
All that, yeah, it pretty much is wide open. But I think the Clippers, I think it's kind of 50-50 here. I think the Clippers, Kawhi, we saw what he did in Game 7. He can go off any moment. The Clippers, honestly, throughout the season, too, have been a really good team shooting from behind the arc. And I think if Ty Lue can figure out to play Rondo in the playoffs, then they might have a better chance as well. Because I think Ty Lue kind of missed the boat there in the first round a little bit. If Rondo can play, I think Clippers have a really great chance of knocking Utah off. But it's really 50-50 here. I'll pick Utah. But honestly, even if Utah advances here, I don't see them beating Phoenix. So.
Yeah, no. So, I mean, I'm kind of on the same page. Like, Utah, I feel like is like a fake 1 seed. Like, they played really good in the regular season.
They're like the Bucks of last year.
Exactly, yeah. I think they're really good. They're a really good defensive team. But, like, the Clippers on paper are probably a lot better. But we know the story with the Clippers. They always never get done usually in the postseason. So, like, I think this is going to be a really good series. It's a toss-up. Like, it's going to go into 6 or 7 for sure, in my opinion.
Yeah, these teams are, in my opinion, like equally matched, especially with Mitchell.
Mitchell's bad.
So I think it's also 50-50. It's tough to say, but I don't know. I think it'll be a 7-game series, very close.
Everything with the Clippers is a 7-game series.
Oh, yeah. And, yeah.
Or they'll just get bounced in 4 or 5. But
yeah.
But yeah, I think so you're going, just to clarify, you're going with
I'm gonna go with Clippers in 7 again.
I think I think it's just like so tough. Maybe I think Utah is gonna come out. Like I think it's gonna shock people. Clippers never get it done, but I'm not surprised. I won't be surprised if the Clippers win the series. Like I said.
all right, so then let's just get to the final thing here, the NBA final prediction from what we've seen so far. So I'll just start from well, let's just go backwards. When the playoffs first started, I had the Lakers, and that obviously went down the drain. Um, but I'll I'll just go flat out with this then, because as I said earlier, I don't see anybody beating Brooklyn. So I'm going to have to take the Nets here. I think they'll come out of the Eastern Conference. I think Milwaukee's their biggest challenge, but after that, to get past them, I don't see a young Atlanta team going in to beat them, and I definitely don't see a compromised Joel Embiid coming in.
Yeah, no,
Um,
I definitely. I mean, I've had the Nets even without before the Harden trade going to the finals, and then of course going when Harden when I had the Nets versus Lakers, everybody had that. But yeah, I'm still rolling with the Nets. I think they have the toughest path. The East is the toughest path right now.
I don't think so. I
You
don't think
know,
it's the toughest. I think
not
they beat Boston in 5, who really shouldn't have even been there, and
yeah,
I mean, if they Milwaukee's their toughest one. I mean, if they get
yeah.
past them, I don't
Philly
think
was tough.
Philly will. I mean, if Joel Embiid is going to not be 100%, and you can just
Yeah,
limit Ben Simmons to take jump shots, I don't think that's really tough.
I think yeah, no, yeah, I agree. I think it's gonna be Nets, and then I mean honestly, I think it could be either the Clippers, Jazz, or Suns. One of those three teams facing the Nets. I mean, I think most likely it's gonna be the Suns,
I
but
agree with that. I think it's going to be Brooklyn, Phoenix, and I think Brooklyn's going to still take it though.
yeah, I think that Brooklyn would probably win that in 5 or 6. But
Yeah,
I mean,
I got Brooklyn coming out of the East, and then think it's gonna be a Suns Clippers matchup, and um, honestly, I think if that were to happen, Suns and Clippers,
that's gonna
um,
be a good
in the
series.
Western Conference Finals, I think it'll be really close. But I still have like you guys, the Suns coming out, playing the Nets in the finals. I think actually that finals matchup will be closer than people expect. I just think Devin Booker is just he can single-handedly carry that team.
Who
I
would
know
have
Chris,
the home court because they're both the 2 seed? Is it based on the record? I guess.
Yeah, record.
regular season record. So
But
yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
uh,
I think like
I,
if it,
yeah.
yeah,
No, I was just gonna say I agree with you guys. I got the Nets winning the championship. Unfortunately, the Lakers were knocked out, but yeah,
They were pretty
Nets.
much a no-show,
Yeah,
yeah.
all
I
their
mean,
injuries and everything.
yeah,
yeah, I mean, I think if it was Nets Clippers, I think that would be like the most exciting series just because there's so many stars in that. And I think that could very well happen. But yeah, I mean, the Nets, when they made the Harden trade, I personally didn't like it. I thought Harden was going to mess everything up. And I was sad to give up Lillard and Allen. But I think Harden's the best part of the Nets now. And the Nets are going to need Harden if they
It's
want to
still
get a run.
Durant's team, though.
It is, yeah.
It's he was the one that built everything and recruited all. And if they fail, it's going to go all on him. And if he wins,
Yeah,
he's going to get all the credit. So,
100%. Yeah.
um, but yeah, we still have plenty of playoff time left to figure all this out. But that's all the time we have for you today. So for Gabe Flaksman and Nick Aurigemma, I'm Reed Becker, and we'll see you next time here on Views from the Booth.